Hello everyone, it's me, GamePang21 again, and we're back reacting to, well, another console war video. And this one is by the man, the myth, the legend himself, the amazing Lucas. And this one is over the Xbox and Bungie acquisition that happened not too long ago, the one that is, by his own definition, a nothing burger, because nothing has actually come out about it. But don't just take my word for it. Take his. And then I would probably insert something out of context that would make him seem stupid. But I'm not going to do that because I'm not stupid. Because he already does that himself. But yeah, the Bungie acquisition happened, and my basic thoughts on this, pretty good. Originally, when I recorded like several videos that will never see the light of day ever, I originally thought like, this is like, this is a whatever deal. Mainly because they're probably just going to do some stuff and it's not going to be too bad of an issue. It's like, why would you do that? But now I get why they did that, and, you know, I understand that they did the deal because, well, it was available at the time, and Bungie was probably looking for something, but again, it's not really much to write home about if you actually look at the details of the deal. Yeah, most of that, yeah, they made a lot of money, like 3 point whatever the fuck billion. And about most of that was meant to take for people's jobs, which is pretty good. And in all honesty, there really isn't going to be much coming out of this. At least if you look at the process of the deal, then none of the things that they've said are going to be exclusives that are at least under the oath. I don't know if they're going to be doing that moving forward, and like there's going to be some exclusives or some non-exclusives, but it's going to more or less be business as usual, and I think that that's good for the most part. And for the most part they're going to keep it as business as usual, which I think is good. I think it's nice. Again, for the most part, the only thing that I would think is a little awkward is them trying to maybe make something different, I guess. I would say play to the strengths of the studio. Anyway, this is overly long and overly stupid, and in all honesty, let's just get into this video because I'm stalling. Let's go!
Poor little Xbox. Oh my goodness.
I've said it once in another video, and I will say it again. This man, every time he records a video, comes out of a 30-year-long coma just to make that sound. It's like the other things of that. Also, he's like, poor little Xbox, even though, again, well, you'll see. We'll get into that.
So, I'm sure many of you guys have heard the news by now. Recently, Microsoft made a nothing burger acquisition in buying Activision. And many of these Xbots, and I can't blame Xbox users, right? They have an IQ below room temperature.
You would know a lot about that. Also sounds like he's projecting.
Because, they're too busy going to gay parades and, painting their fingernails with Master Chief nail polish.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Correct. Also, why do you not like that, and why is that a bad thing? By the way, it's really funny to me that Xbox has nail polish, but there is no one that realizes that Xbox also had, like, a shampoo and conditioner. I don't know why. I think they also had a deodorant at some point, so yeah. It's not weird. I mean, it's weird, but it's not that weird.
Okay, while they go into their Xbox fridge and get some Mountain Dew to play, well, I don't know.
I mean, there's a lot of new IPs, and there's a lot of the other stuff there. A lot of stuff to play on Xbox, kind of, if you really go looking for it. Just that you don't like the stuff on Xbox. Cool! Whatever. We still got games. PC also has a lot more games than Xbox. Just saying.
Nevertheless, what many of these individuals were under the impression was that Call of Duty was going to be an exclusive. That, hey, they put out to me like, hey, Lucas, they said,
this is with the agreement, okay? After the contract, all right, Lucas? Now, what happens after the contract is up, all right?
I kid you not. This is what these, these simpletons, these dolts, these morbidly obese, just deviants. This is what they believe. They believe that Microsoft was going to make Call of Duty an Xbox exclusive.
I mean, in all honesty, that's not a hard leap to really make. I mean, and again, a lot of people, when the Sony acquisition, which you're going to talk about later, originally talked about, said that Destiny, well, not Destiny, but the original Halo trilogy was going to come and be an exclusive, or at least come over to PlayStation, when the publishing rights don't exist with that studio. The publishing rights exist with Microsoft. And again, you're going to bring that up later in the video, but I just wanted to bring that up here and now, that it's not a hard limit to say that because this was a multi-platform studio, that one of their games was going to become, you know, an Xbox exclusive. Again, in total, if you take out like the business stuff of that, 100%, it doesn't really make too much sense, because a lot of the actual PlayStation stuff does tend to sell, well, a lot of the PlayStation versions of Call of Duty do tend to sell well, but that's also because there's a lot more people on PlayStation. Same thing with a lot of the stuff on PC, though it's not as massive because there's not many people playing on PC, because the PC port of the games aren't as polished as they are on, say, other systems. Sometimes, not all the time, it's not all the time, but sometimes they're not polished to the standard that other people would do, and that's their prerogative. It does get fixed, it does get other stuff, but that's not to say that it's a bad option. I mean, again, taking it away, you'd basically lose out on an entire platform, and people will just refuse to buy Call of Duty. It just doesn't make any business sense for it. Some people think the other way, but I don't know.
I'm sorry. Now, us high IQ PlayStation users, we already knew that wasn't going to happen, okay? We laugh. Unfortunately, we laugh at these simpletons. It's natural, right? When stupid, has a baby with mediocrity, well, you get an Xbox user. That's the circle of life. That's how it works, all right?
And when stupid has a as a baby with pettiness, because stupid is like that, you get a PlayStation person. I can make these kinds of jokes too, bro.
Now, what these simpletons, these feeble-minded, vapid cretins failed to understand was that their acquisition, which was a nothing burger, I know, the biggest in history, but until this acquisition produces something of value for the Xbox user, well, it's a business deal. I don't know what to tell you. The whole purpose was to create new IPs, like Gunk and Sea of Thieves. I'm sorry, but that's really what they have to look forward to. Hot sellers, Game of the Year contenders like Gunk.
First of all, Sea of Thieves is not technically a new IP. It was released within the last 5-10 years-ish, but it was actually developed by Rare, not by Activision. Gunk also, I don't think, was developed by Activision, and that seemed to be developed more by an internal studio. And again, you say that Gunk is a bad game, yet it is a platforming type game, and it's a very variety of interesting game. Again, I haven't personally played it, but it sounds interesting, and the fact that you've mentioned it now twice in 2 different videos makes me want to go and check it out more. Not only that, Sea of Thieves is actually really fun. Yeah, sure, it's slow, and it's a multiplayer game, and they do tend to make weird decisions, but it's not bad. It's really not. The controller support alone was fantastic, at least in my opinion. I've never really played it with a keyboard and mouse, mainly because it's not comfortable on a keyboard and mouse for me to play that game. But, again, you're saying, like, oh, Sea of Thieves is like that, but you've never mentioned things like Grounded, which was a new IP. You've never mentioned some of the other new IPs that I can't think of off the top of my head, but I had a list of the new IPs in the last video that were releases in 2020, and some of those were actually very new and Microsoft created. But you're going to be like, oh, Microsoft doesn't create new IPs or anything like that. Yet you go on to list games that have existed for the past, 15 years for that game. And it's like, oh, they make new IPs, they do new stuff. It's like, yeah, cool, but not as often as you would expect them to. Sorry, I had to adjust my headset a little bit. Anyway, but yeah, Gunk. It's a weird name. It's a game that I will never play. Sea of Thieves is a game I will never play because I don't like pirates and action and actually digging up treasure. Nope, not for me. That's weird.
You know, that's the new IPs that Xbox is looking to give to their audience. Now, hey, to each his own. I'm sure they're having loads of fun playing Gunk right now while we're playing SIFU. But hey, I'm not going to knock it. You go and have all the fun you want, all right, while you're kissing your mom and farting in the bathtub. I don't judge.
That sounded very judgy. This whole video sounded very judgy. I know that that's probably what you were going for, but it sounded very judgy. Also, very detailed. One more thing is, SIFU is okay. I wouldn't call it the best. I would say that it's more like Kung Fu perfection running. I don't want to call it a Dark Souls clone because that just doesn't make any sense. But it's an interesting game. It has interesting mechanics at the very least. But in all honesty, Xbox is still getting like the multi-platforms and stuff. They still do have exclusives to their platform that are becoming cool. I mean, again, Halo Infinite alone is still doing really well, but you don't bring up that one at all. In the last video, you brought up other stuff. What I also find interesting is that going back a little bit, you said that there was a nothing burger because there was nothing that came out of the deal. Yet that deal, number one, isn't going through quite yet. It's still in the final talks for it. And number two, the Bethesda acquisition didn't really produce anything until about maybe a year later-ish. And again, those games are coming out eventually. And three, if this is a nothing burger, the $68 billion acquisitions, as well as the 7 point whatever the fuck billion acquisition previously, if these two are nothing burgers because nothing has come out of it as per your, definition, then that means that the Bungie acquisition is somehow also a nothing burger. Because, again, nothing has come out of it. There have been no announcements for any exclusives. There have been no announcements to make Destiny an exclusive. There has been only that it's going to basically be business as usual with the actual company itself still making the games multi-platform. So how is it that the Bungie PlayStation acquisition is good and is actually not just a business transaction versus a $68 billion acquisition, $69-ish billion acquisition, a nothing burger, because nothing has come out of it, even though there are still technically in talks with completing and closing the deal. I don't get what.
This now leads us to the story everyone's been wanting me to talk about, and that is the story of PlayStation purchasing Bungie. Now,
oh boy.
Xbox are losing their minds. They completely lost their minds. They went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I think some of them actually, took their own lives, unfortunately, RIP, over this news, because it's devastating to them, right? Bungie, who created, Halo, which is literally Xbox. Halo is such a big figure. Like, he is Xbox, right? He's on the cover of the Xbox, right? Think about that. Think about how that's so sad. But nevertheless, right? We acquired Bungie.
You know what's also sad? Buying the studio that defined the other platform as well, i.e. Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, a couple other ones I forget, but those were on the PlayStation. It's weird to me that you're saying, oh, these games here, like, this game was the defining feature of this console. The Xbox, like, the Bungie has the same name of the company that made the console thing, and now they're playing for the other side. Yet, ignores the fact in that the previous video he said, oh, we've already had that. So, what's the problem? Again, this is kind of the same thing. Allow me to throw your arguments back at you, Mr. Lucas, and say, yeah, cool. You got Bungie for, like, whatever the fuck billion you got them for. But we've already had that. In fact, we still have that, technically. So, yeah, you can go, take them, it's fine. We've already done that. We're still going to be over here playing our Halo game. And also the Crash Bandicoots and other stuff that's probably going to come out in the next couple years. What's also funny is, again, that it just is funny because Bungie is now not the studio that it once was. I mean, most of the people that work on Halo now work at 343, which is still under Microsoft, which still creates the Halo series. So it's not technically the same studio, just has the same name as the studio. Because that's what branding is. Anyway.
And here's the thing. I know many people are celebrating it, but I am not one. I think this is a horrible, horrible business choice by PlayStation. Absolutely horrible.
Why?
Okay? Because I guess I'll tell you guys, okay? I'll tell you guys the truth. Something that some of you Xbox users don't know about us PlayStation users is that we have too many games. We have too many games. PlayStation is...
That's disgusting. I don't know if any of you heard that, but I heard a deep guttural swallowing. That's gross. Almost as gross as when some people suck.
Constantly giving us new games. Constantly. And we can't play them all. We can't, alright? I know Xbox users don't have this problem, but as PlayStation users, we are humble people. We have living blue-collar jobs. We only have so much money. And PlayStation constantly keeps giving us new IPs. Horizon, Forbidden West, SIFU, God of War Ragnarok.
Interesting how he says new games, yet lists off 2 sequels to games that have previously released. Also, both of those previous those previous games, God of War and Horizon Zero Dawn, are on PC as well, and are probably coming to PC quickly after their launch. If anything, I would say 2 years, 3 years, maybe-ish, depending on, like, if they really want to release a day and date or not. I don't know. They could choose to do that. I have no idea. But again, I'm fairly certain that those Sony games will eventually come to PC, maybe. I don't want to quote myself there. But I just hate this fake sadness. It annoys me. And in all honesty, it is just so stupid. Why? Because this is a literal logical fallacy. This is the worst, use of a logical fallacy ever. Why is this a logical fallacy? It is an attempt of appeal to pity, and it's more of a mocking of an appeal to pity. It's so stupid because, we have so many games. Yet lists off again sequels, and the only new IP is SIFU, is that available on other platforms? I have no idea. Probably not. I haven't seen it on Steam or anywhere else. So I guess it is available only on PlayStation. Cool. I don't really care to play that game technically. I mean, it's cool. It's neat. It's an interesting gameplay gimmick and shit. But again, you're saying, we have too many games. Yet the PC has far more games and far more new IPs coming out. I mean, have you ever heard of a couple of meme games out there like Among Us or motherfucking Crab Game? Yeah, busting out those awesome games. Or what about games like, I don't know, Escape from Tarkov, which is okay. I mean, it only is just being worked on by a small development team in, I believe, Russia, and looks about on par as Dark Souls, with max settings on, PC as well. Again, in a lot of contexts, it looks just about as good as any modern PC game, and is still being worked on, technically still in beta. Honestly, it's downright fun. I should get back into it. But I've just been playing other games, again, like Dying Light 2. I know that's a multi-plat, but I don't fucking care. It's a game that I want, and it's a game that I would happily pay. I paid Techland twice for the first Dying Light. This is again, another game I would happily pay Techland again to own it on, like, other platforms, because it's just that fun to me. You're saying that you have too many games? Bitch, if you're crying, I should be downright waterfalling or volcanoing with fucking tears right now. But I'm not. Because I'm not the person who glorifies exclusive games for no fucking reason.
I'm not made out of money. I'm not made out of money, so hearing about them purchasing Bungie, it gives me panic attack, because I'm thinking to myself, what are they gonna do? What new game are they gonna announce? I mean, you have to think about it. As a PlayStation user, we live in constant fear of a new game coming around, right around the corner. I mean, look what they did to the Insomniac. Ratchet and Clank to Spider-Man, now Wolverine. Stop!
Sorry. Something in my throat.
Just stop, PlayStation. Give us a second. Give us a second to breathe. We only have two hands. We're only one person. Stop giving us so many games. So many great exclusives. So many Game of the Years.
How many games are PlayStation exclusives that have actually won Game of the Year? And how is that, like, important? One of the weird things is that they don't have Game of the Year editions anymore. That was actually really cool. I mean, if I remember correctly, I think Left 4 Dead 1 and 2 had Game of the Year editions. A couple other ones that I remember that there were Game of the Year editions that are still on PC. Sony never released a Game of the Year edition of any of their games, which, honestly, I don't know why they stopped doing that. Probably because it didn't sell well at the same time. I don't know, but, I mean, they've never released a Game of the Year version, and what the fuck does Game of the Year have to do with fucking anything? Honestly, Game of the Year is more or less just games themselves being angry and stuff like that. I mean, in all honesty, wasn't Game of the Year this year beat out by It Takes Two? Or is that the 2021? So the 2021 or 2020, that Game of the Year was It Takes Two. Probably 2021. Because people got angry that Halo got the player's choice and not the Sony exclusive of fucking, what was it? I don't remember. But no. I mean, yeah, some of PlayStation games are okay, and some of the PlayStation games are cool, but they're not something that I would actively seek out for, personally.
Just please, alright, this is an abuse on our wallets.
Motherfucker, you've never lived through the Steam summer sale. Get the fuck out of here.
I know Xbox users, this doesn't resonate with them. This doesn't resonate with them at all. Because they're probably playing, Halo Infinite, which is dead. They're playing Looking Forward to Gunk. But, they with the Game Pass, they can have access to, 10-year-old games and be happy about it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't get why that's a negative. having access to these older games doesn't mean that it's bad or it makes those games bad anymore. If those games were good, they still would technically be good now. I mean, again, they're 10-year-old games. I have access to games that are also over 10 years old and that I play a bunch of. Like I said, Dying Light is 5 years old. Team Fortress 2 is 10 plus years old, and I've still played that. I mean, it's unplayable now because of like bots and stuff. But again, it was fun for a long ass time, and people were still playing it even still 10 years later, and people are still attempting to play it. Minecraft is definitely over 10 years old now, and it was bought by Microsoft. So yeah, I mean, games that are 10 years old, that's not a bad thing. I mean, there's probably like some games that age poorly, but some games age like a fine wine, and not a lot of PlayStation games tend to actually do that. Some do. I mean, I'm not gonna say that all of them are like awful and bad, that they age like milk. It's like, no, that's a fucking lie. But some of them don't age too well. Some of them age great. Some of them age like eh. Ratchet & Clank is probably one of them.
So, I just want to let you guys know, as a PlayStation user, it's very difficult. It's very difficult. There's just so many games, so little time. So, that's why I think this is horrible. I don't know what they're going to do with Bungie. I am terrified. I am terrified of what Bungie may come out with. They may come out with 10 games, I don't know, and all of them come out this year or next year or 2025. I don't know. I'm scared. All right? I'm being vulnerable to you. I am scared.
How? Please? Oh my god. Okay. Explain to me how they're going to come out with 10 games in the span of a year. What? Also, Sony came out and said that it was going to be business as usual, and I know that I've mentioned that a couple times before, but just to reiterate, it's going to be that they're going to still technically remain independent, and essentially, this was more of an investment in the company technically, but they still bought them out because it was easier to buy them out than to just make that small investment at that point. And I guess like they were in talks for it for whatever reason, and it might have escalated to something like that. Who the fuck knows? Who the fuck cares? But no, they're not going to just come out with like a bunch of PlayStation exclusive games. And Destiny is also not going to be PlayStation exclusive, and Halo series is also not going to be exclusive or coming over to PlayStation anytime soon because they don't have the publishing rights to that shit. No, again, and I also find it funny, again, how he says, oh, they're going to come out with games in the next year, and yet the acquisition for Activision is not even closed yet, and yet it's a nothing burger because nothing has come out of it. Nothing has come out of the Bungie acquisition fucking either, Lucas. How is it that, again, nothing coming out of one deal is bad, but nothing coming out of another deal is good? What?
Of what they may do. Okay, they showed us what they do with studios. They produce games, all right? They produce games. Xbox is producing refrigerators and TV shows. PlayStation produces games.
I mean, it's called diversifying your portfolio. It's a little thing in business that just happens to happen. Plus, also, those games are just basically advertisements for the actual products themselves of the games and other stuff. If you see something with a Halo logo on it, you're going to want to go and buy Halo. It's the same thing with, if I say something along the lines of, hello, ladies. It's the same deal. It's marketing. Marketing and business. Diversifying your portfolio is not a bad option. Also, the Halo TV series was actually kind of dope. Or at least it looked kind of dope. Also, I really did want a fridge of the Xbox. Because they leaned into the meme so hard that they actually made money off of the meme, which not a lot of companies can do. I'm scared. I'm scared. Anyways, guys, that's the video. Let me know what you guys think, whether or not you believe. Look, what are you talking about? It's a big acquisition. What are you talking about? Xbox type games. I also like that very abrupt transition where the very elegant and silent music kind of faded out, and then all of a sudden he's back to his normal mode. It's almost like that crying was fake, but nah, nothing is fake on the internet, not ever.
Or if you can't believe, as a PlayStation user, we do go to therapy, to deal with the abundance of
The amount of copium that you drink?
new IPs and quality.
Oh, so the amount of copium that you take.
It can become overwhelming at times. It can definitely become overwhelming at times. It's like looking, I don't know, when you see an Xbox player, it's like looking at a third world country. It's like, how do they do it? How are they so happy with so little?
It's called making the best of it, motherfucker. Look it up.
God bless them. God bless their hearts. Either or, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please feel free to like, share, comment, subscribe. That fun stuff. Till next time, guys, be amazing. I don't judge.
This video is absolute garbage. At no point in your vapid, insane ramblings of someone who is so high on their own petard that it can rival the best opioid addiction, that you added no substance to the conversation, ignoring facts and not producing facts that were relevant or easy to talk to, because they were so incoherent and boring that I basically tuned them out. I award you no points. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Fuck off. Anyway, that was a little dark, but in all honesty, I don't care anymore. This video is like 8 minutes longer than it should be. Well, not really. It's more like 4 minutes longer than it should be, because he basically then just goes into the other second latter half and just like, yeah, we got too many games, and fake cries the rest of the time. Again, if my previous stuff is whatever, if this is $68 billion is whatever and a nothing burger because nothing has come out of it, hey, guess what? It somehow makes the Bungie acquisition even worse because nothing is going to come out of that either, because they're going to just become business as usual. And a quick and simple Google search will allow you to make that choice. So nothing comes of it. You don't get any exclusive, you don't get any games right now. They're looking to probably make a multi-platform, multiplayer shooter, which Bungie can allow. And again, it's a good acquisition because, guess what? You probably are going to get some pretty good games out of it. And they're probably going to be available for everyone, because Sony is realizing that Microsoft is playing 4D chess, and they need to get themselves onto that fucking board before they die. So, no. So again, I reiterate, if the Nothing Birder of 68, to the tune of 68 million, which is still not closed, by the way, and because nothing has come out of it, then the Sony and Bungie acquisition is exactly the same, because nothing has come out of it either. Oh well, that's your own definition. Anyway, guys, I've talked long enough, so I'll leave you with this. The amazing Lucas is the amazing opioid dealer. In any case, my name is GamePenguin21. I actually decided to do a new video, outro song, because I thought the other one was getting whatever. So again, links to that in the description down below. Go and check them out. I gotta give these guys a shout out because they're actually my favorite band, or my favorite creators of copyright-free music. So go and check that out. Links in the description. Thank you all so much for watching. My name is GamePenguin21, and well, peace off.